Right, here we are folks, we're back again and we've got another little project for the channel. This is a little Peugeot, I think it's a Looxor, not sure how they pronounce that. This is going to be a little quick flip one. This is not going into the collection with the other bikes. So I got this really cheap this. It's belonged to the same chap for 18 years I believe. It's only had two owners. The first owner only had it for a couple of years and then this chap's had it for the last 18 years. And it's only done, I can't show you because there's no battery life on the mileage. I think it's around about 12,000 miles. And I say the last chap actually only done about 3,000 of them in the last 18 years. So it hasn't done a lot of motoring. You can see it's a complete bike. It's a 2002 model. Not in bad condition. Well, in fact, it's in really good condition for a bike at this age. Normally they've got all panel damage, all cracked panels. This is a nice straight example. It has been left outside, so it is a bit green in places and all that. So let's take a look around the bike now. Right, so as I say, it is a nice standard complete bike. No panel damage, no cracked panels. The mud guard's all there, all the lights are intact. It doesn't look like it's ever been dropped because the brake levers are all straight on it. It is a twist and go. It's a 50cc, this one, I believe, 49cc. It's got the big wheels on this one. It has had recently new tyres in the last 2 years, and these tyres have done not a lot of miles basically. So the chap did actually fit the front tyre himself, and it does go down slowly. He reckons he didn't bead it right, so probably have to take that off as well. We'll get that sorted out. We will check the tyres. Again, back tyres good, new. Exhaust is all original. I'm probably going to give this a bit of a light rub down with some sandpaper, and then we'll get some heat-proof paint on that, and then we'll probably just give that a bit of a clean up as well. It's a shame the powder coating system ain't going, because I could have powder coated that nicely. But I say all the side panels are all good. One thing that does let it down, with most mopeds, the seat is all ripped underneath. The chap's just put this netting on. It does take the eye off it as well, but I've actually ordered a bit of vinyl, and we're going to have a go at recovering that seat. I did do it on a couple of other bikes, the TZR and the Peugeot NRG. So here's the back of the bike. A few of you like to do red checks on it, so you can go away and check the MOT on it. I think it ran out in August last year. So, but as I say, it's all nice and complete. The only piece of damage that I've found, it's not really damage, it's just a bit of paint flake, is obviously there, where that's obviously just been happened where he's turned it around and he's just caught it there. But everything else is fantastic, clean condition. No damage to these. Even the mirrors are in good condition. I say you might be able to see on the camera it's gone all green just where it's been sitting, and again, which it is just down there. And I'll probably have a go at cleaning these plastics up, or maybe we might try and get doing them black just to see what we can do with it. So I think they will look good black against the blue, or we might try and restore them yet. We're not going to know until we start having a look. It's digital dash there. Another thing that is an issue with these, you have to turn the key, so you obviously ignition's off there, you put your key in and that's your ignition on, and then to start it you would pull your brake lever in and push your button, but the battery is totally flat. It did kick start over, and if you turn the key even further to the right, that should actually pop the seat up. So when you turn that should actually lift that up, but it's actually seized. I think the cable must be seized on it because it's not actually doing nothing. So I'm hoping we can get the panels off without this needing the seat up, because I know on my other Peugeot NRG moped, the seat has to be up because there's screws along the top of the fairings. So we are going to, in this video, try and take these back fairings off to see if we can hopefully get that locker mechanism sorted out, because we do need to be able to get under the seat, obviously to put fuel in it and stuff. So I don't know if there might be some stuff under the seat. It did actually come with a helmet, this bike. The chap gave me the helmet, and it does have a top box on it as well that's been fitted from new. Again, faded again, so it might look nice black, or whoever buys it might want to take it off because they're only just bolted on anyway with 3 bolts. So yeah, I'm really happy with this little purchase. One thing the chap did mention is the front brake is pretty much non-existent, so we'll have a look into that, whether if it's pads or it might just want bleeding, it might want fluid in it. I don't know. We won't know until we get digging into it. So I think what we're going to do first is I'm going to just lift the table up a bit, and then I think we'll try and start taking these side casings off, because I really do want to get under that seat and have a look under there, because I say the seat's got to come off anyway, because we're going to be doing a recover on it. So let me just get some tools, and then we'll start taking these side panels off, hopefully. Right folks, so I've got my socket now, and there's actually T30s holding these panels on. Not sure what's going on. That's like a little plastic screw, that one. That don't seem to be winding out, it's just spinning. I'm not sure about that one, but coming round here, we've got some screws here. This will take the back mud guard off as well, I think. Again, that'll probably want to come off, because we're going to look at painting that up and getting it nice and black, just to help the appearance of this bike. I say it's had not very hard life, this bike. It's a couple of elderly gentlemen have both owned it, so it's had an easy life. It also does come with 2 sets of keys and a folder full of stuff, and the service manual and the owner's manual as well. So that's not very often you get all that with an old moped like this. Definitely 2 sets of keys. So I'm not sure where else we've got screws for this blue fairing. I can see on the back here there's a Peugeot badge, a gel badge, that's actually been stuck over the fairing, so that might have to be lifted one side. It's an original gel badge, but that might be something that's got to be lifted up. Screw down here. Which can be done with a flathead. So we'll just take that one out. The only thing you need to be careful of really with these is, because they're old plastics, they might be a bit brittle, so do be careful when I'm doing this sort of stuff. And I'll just take this one down here off, because there might be a screw behind here. I believe this will probably be where the battery lives, under here. It's quite a common place for the batteries on the scooters to be down here or under the seat, so I reckon it probably is down under here. Which it is there, yeah, and that has revealed another screw there, so I will give this battery a charge before we purchase a new one, because it might take a charge. We do have the topped on repair charger, so we'll give it a go on that first. Right, it's still really fixed on solid, that. So I might have a go at taking a few of these little bolts out down here, just to see if we can release anything. Got that tight them. I'm just hoping they're not spinning on the back. I can get my finger up there. I don't feel like it's spinning, so that's lifted a bit now. So I'm going to put a bit of WD down there, just to let that soak in a bit, because I say these screws have probably never been off since new. So that's running down there nicely now. So you may not need to take this one off, but I just want to have a look behind this trim here. And I say we're going to be giving this a clean up and paint anyway, so it does really need to come off actually. So that's working its way off nicely now. So while I'm fiddling about getting these screws undone, I'll come back to you and show you what I found. Right folks, so as you can see, she looks a bit different from when you last see it a minute ago. To get the seat open, we took these panels off, and we still couldn't get to anything. So we did undo this screw here, and that just levered the seat up a little bit. Again, that didn't really achieve anything like that. And what I was looking for is, obviously it operates from here. When the ignition's on, you turn the key once to the right and that operates it. So I knew from here there'd have to be some sort of cable running up to that lock there to do it. And in the past when we've had scooters, it's normally been a steel cable, like what you get on the lawnmowers for your handles. steel cable in a plastic sleeving. And I was having a look right in here, couldn't see nothing, no cables or nothing. I did see this wire coming up from the front here somewhere, and then it tearing off in there, but it was 2 electrical cables, so I didn't think much of that for a minute. So I was still looking about, having a fiddle about, couldn't find this cable, and then I thought maybe it is electric. So obviously the battery was flat, so what I've done is I've got the jump pack, put a bit of life to it, and sure enough, when I turned the key, the lights on the ignition come on, and I flicked it again and it popped up. So it's actually an electric one, and I didn't realise they'd done them in electric, so it has caught me out a bit there. And while I've got the panels off, I will give all this framework a good clean, and it gives me better access to all this other stuff. I did actually turn the bike over, and it was just turning over and turning over. It's not actually out of petrol, there's 3/4 of a tank in it. It showed me that on the gauge, and when I did have a look under the cap, you can see there's 3/4 of a tank in there. The petrol smells really good. The chap said it's not been in there that long. Well, not long. It's been in there six to 8 months, I think. The last time he rode it, but it did fire up when I was there with him, so there might have been a bit of fuel in the tank, in the carb, but it seems like we're going to have the carburetor off on this. I know under the tank they do have a filter in there, and that does commonly get blocked on the scooters because it happened on the Peugeot NRG that I have as well, so it could be that. So while we're down this deep, we're going to have a good look at the engine. We'll probably get a service kit for it, because I did spray a bit of easy start through the airbox, and I'll show you what I found. So I did take the airbox off here, and I don't know if you can actually see, I did touch the sponge and it's just collapsed. So it's not actually, I weren't concerned with it sucking into the engine because the inlet's there, so I did push that back out of the way. But yeah, it's going to want a new air filter in it. I'll probably get a new belt for it as well, just to be safe, and a spark plug. So while I'm in there, I might as well do the belt as well, because it's probably the original belt on it, which is going to be 20 odd years old. So it doesn't look like it's had a recent service by the state of that air filter. But while we're down this deep, I think what my next thing to do is I'm going to just give it a bit of a clean over first, because I hate working on vehicles that are dirty. And I'm going to get this battery on charge to see if we can actually get a bit of life back in this battery, because if we can, that will save 25-30 quid. I'm going to stick this on charge with the topped on repair charger, have a bit of a clean round in here, and hopefully then we can start having a dive round. I'll maybe take these other panels off, because I do want to do something with these panels, whether if we try and revive it or we do paint them black. So remember, it is a quick flip bike at the end of the day. I don't want to be spending fortunes on it. I want to get it through a nice service and put an MOT on it, so someone can actually just buy it and ride off on it without any issue. So I'm going to have a bit of a clean up now, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, welcome back, folks. So as you can see now, I've stripped this down, and I've made a bit of a start on cleaning the fuel tank. Was covered in 2-stroke oil and old fuel, so I've cleaned that right up. It's come up lovely. I've given the frame a bit of a wipe down and a degrease. Again, I've come around the back here and I've cleaned all this side up again. You don't need to do this, but I just like to clean my stuff before I work on it, and then I'll give it a final clean down once we're finished. So it just saves getting dirt in places that it shouldn't be getting, and it just makes the job a whole lot nicer to work on when it's clean. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to undo these studs here for the exhaust. They've been soaking in WD-40 for a while now. So we've got 2 studs there, and then we've got our mounting brackets 2 here as well. I have just tried getting this cover off, and I've had to go at 2 of them screws on the top there, and they are not budging at all. So I'm going to leave that in situ. I've got 2 choices here, because obviously I'm going to be rubbing this exhaust down and painting this heat black, high temperature paint. So I can either do the whole thing in black, or I can mask that off and then do that in silver. So I'm not too sure which route I'm going to go down yet. I might give it a whole thing in black, and then if I don't like it in black, I can always put silver on top as a top coat. So hopefully these ain't going to be a bit of a pain, these studs, to get out. And let's get tackling them. Right, it's hard to get you in here, so all I can do is apologise for the view for the minute. So let's just try. Oh, that was easy enough. Oh, that was nice. That never normally happens. They don't normally come out that easy. So it does show, just to give yourself a, oh, and again, a bit of time to let that penetrating fluid sink in. That's been on there for a good hour, that has. And that has helped that a treat. I kept coming back every 15 to 20 minutes, just giving it another little extra squirt. And that has really helped that along. They never normally come out that easy, exhaust studs. I will be ordering a service kit. I don't know if I've mentioned that already, for this. And a new battery, because the old battery doesn't even want to take a charge. Can't even put it on the repair setting. It's totally knackered, that battery. So there will be another battery coming through. They're not expensive. They're about 18 quid, I think, the battery for this. I've just had a look online from Tannar Batteries. And then normally next day then, but I won't be in a rush to get the battery yet, because I say I want to get a service kit and all that. But we won't be doing that in this video. This video is a bit of a stripped down video. Get the exhaust off, maybe get the exhaust painted up in this video, and then hopefully on the second part of the video we can give the engine a bit of a service, take a look at the carb. I'm sure these are carburetors on these. I don't think they're injection, so we'll have a look at the carb on this and give it a good carb clean. So I think the second part of the video is where we'll be giving this bike a service and cleaning the carburetor, and then once we've got the service done and the carb and the drive belt and spark plug and air filter, we'll probably move on to the front section of the bike then and start getting the front brake looked at, because there's nothing there. So I need to just take these. Oh, I've just come across a problem. So I've just noticed that hanger bolt actually looks like I won't be able to get that out without this, with this cover on. So that could be a bit of an issue, that. So if really it does need to come off this. And I say I've been spraying them with WD as well, but that's not doing a lot there. These are probably heat seized in. They are a T25, or you can get a flat, there's a slot on there to get a flat in, and I have tried both, and nothing really wants to budge it. Just give that a tap right in, so we know it's in properly. A bit of pressure behind it. No, that's just going to spin in the head there. So we've got a bit of an issue here now of how we're going to get that socket out of there. Right, let me have a think and I'll come back to you. Right folks, so you may see now that we have actually got the plastic shield off. Well, I say plastic, it's actually a bit of tin. So I probably will do that silver again. I'll give that a rub down. That won't be today, I don't think, because this has took a lot longer than expected. I had to grind all the heads off the screws because they were just totally seized, and then I've had to just drill the holes, the rest of the screws out. I've done these two, but I can't get this one because I can't get the drill down on the angle. So I'm taking these fixing bolts out. The bottom one again was a nightmare because there's still bolts going into alley, and it was just totally corroded up, so I had to use a bit of heat on that. So we've got the last one just to nip out at the top here, and then this exhaust should come off hopefully. And this still is the original Peugeot exhaust. I think this will be the original one from new by the looks of things. So it's done pretty well, to be fair, and it is still solid. Right, that's that. Drop there a minute. Let's just put that with the other nuts and bolts. So now that just lifts off like that, look. And that exhaust is still solid. It weighs a bit though, blinking heavy. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, this was the one that was seized up. So this will all be getting cleaned down. This gives me better access to see the wheel. Give it a good clean in here. I'll say it's a new tyre on there. Don't worry about that rubbing, that sits up there where the fairings are on. So, but the wheel, they got a little bit of surface corrosion. nothing that's going to bother me really. It is a cheap moped at the end of the day. It's going to be a cheap moped at the end of the day, so I'm not going to bother getting these all powder coated. I could go along and do that, but then I'm looking at about another 80 odd quid just to get them both powder coated. So it's an expense we don't need. There's nothing wrong with them. A bit bubbly, but if the new owner wants to do something with that, that gives them something to do. So I'm going to quickly give this exhaust a little rub down now, and then we'll stick a bit of paint on it, so then we can leave that to dry for a day or so until we can get back down here and do a bit more on it. So I'm just going to find a bit of paper and we'll get this rubbed down. Right folks, so I've brought the exhaust pipe back in now because it's just started to rain outside, but as you can see we've got a nice finish on that. I wasn't too bothered about the finish here because that's going to be covered by the plate, but it has turned out really well, this pipe. So it's just flashing off now. We're going to come to wrapping this video up in a minute, but I thought we'll just quickly check, see what the spark plug's like on this bike, because we know the air filter is crumbling. So I looked through the service book and it said it had a service at 10,000 miles, but I think that was a good few years ago. That I say it's just on about 12,500 miles now, so in theory this plug should have only done about 2,500 miles. And to be fair, it doesn't look too bad actually. I have seen a lot worse than that, but we will change it anyway because we're going to give this bike a full service. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. The plug is a bit wet, but we did fire some easy start down there when we was getting the bike running, didn't we? So I don't think I caught that on camera, did I? Did I mention it? I have actually just got this bike running about a couple of hours ago, because when we put the jump pack on it to undo the seat, I did turn it over and put a bit of carb spray down the carb, so that's why the plug's wet. So as I say, I'm probably going to leave it here for today in this little video. I will get myself the service kit ordered for the next video, and once that exhaust is dry in the next video, we'll probably have to put a bit of we'll have to tap some threads into that exhaust pipe and get some new screws so we can put that heat shield back on. And I will have to get a bit of silver paint. I was just cleaning that silver heat shield off, and it was going a bit rubbery, like the paint was coming off. So it has had a bit of paint on it. It was originally shiny silver by the looks of it, and they've put, just from the factory, they've obviously put a bit of paint over it, and it is coming off when we clean it. So it is a bit of a messy job, that one. So I'll probably do that off camera, just cleaning that down. Unfortunately, we haven't got the sandblaster in action in a minute because the compressor's out of action, so I can't use a sandblaster. And again, we haven't got the powder coating system oven set up yet because my dad stripped it down to do a bit of work on it. So it's going to have to be painted. It would have been nice to use the powder coating facilities, but it will come back again in the near future, so don't worry about that. So yeah, next video we'll get it serviced and probably get the rest of these front panels off, because they need to come off. We can't stick the back ones on because these go underneath the back ones, so we will have to take these off as well in the next video. Get this all cleaned up and treated, and we'll go from there. And also, I'd like to, just before we do shoot off, I'd like to say a thank you to the Rat5680, who left me a super thanks on the bottom of the video in one of my last couple of videos ago. So I really appreciate that. Again, that super thanks that you did send will go towards buying a bit towards this service kit. So thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you about.